Hello and welcome to Sleepy Story. I am Chris, and tonight we will discover the history and enjoying mystery of the lost city of Atlantis, from Plato's ancient writings to Renaissance mapmakers, from writers' rich imaginations to 20th century discoveries. Explore how this legendary city has captivated minds for centuries. Let this calm and fascinating tale of myth, history, and wonder ease you into a restful sleep. Before we begin our journey to night, let's take time to relax and let go of the stresses of the day. Allow your body to sink into the mattress beneath you here. And now there are no obligations, no to-do lists. By simply lying in bed with your eyes closed, you are already giving your body nourishing rest. Close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, let any tension begin to melt away. Feel the surface beneath you, supporting your body completely with each breath. You'll guide yourself into a deeper state of calm, gently relaxing your body. Bring your awareness to your toes, wiggle them softly. Feeling any tightness begin to dissolve. Your next exhale, let them become warm, soft, and heavy. Allow this feeling to spread through the soles of your feet, up to your heels, and into your ankles. Now let the relaxation travel upward, flowing like a gentle wave into your lower legs. Feel your calves, soften your shins, unwind. With each breath you sink a little deeper into calm, releasing any tension in your knees and thighs. Let the heaviness settle into your legs as they become loose and relaxed. Turn your attention to your hips and lower back with each breath in. Imagine a warm, soothing light filling this space. As you exhale, release any tightness, allowing your hips and back to relax, fully sinking deeper into the surface beneath you. Now bring your focus to your abdomen. Take a deep breath in, letting your stomach expand gently, and as you exhale, feel any stress leave your body. Let your breath flow naturally as your chest softens and your ribcage opens, allowing your lungs to fill and empty with ease. Shift your awareness to your shoulders. Picture them dropping down away from your ears as if a weight is being lifted. Let the relaxation flow down your arms, through your elbows, and into your hands and fingers. Feel your hands rest gently, completely at ease. Finally, bring your attention to your neck and head. Let the muscles in your jaw loosen, your cheeks soften, and your brow relax. Imagine any remaining tension dissolving, leaving your entire body calm and still. Take one more deep, soothing breath from your toes to the top of your head. Your body is now fully relaxed, grounded, and at peace. Rest in this quiet calm for a moment, breathing softly and naturally. And now we can begin tonight's story. Beneath skies forever kissed by sun, where waters shimmered like liquid sapphire, there lay a kingdom lost to time, the city of Atlantis. It was no ordinary city, for its beauty was said to rival that of the heavens, its splendor woven by gods and men alike. Here at the edge of the world, surrounded by the boundless sea, Atlantis stood as a beacon of power, wealth, and divine artistry. Atlantis was not built like other cities. It was built in concentric circles, 3 rings of land, surrounded by 3 shimmering canals. Bridges of white marble arched gracefully over the water, connecting the rings like golden threads binding a tapestry. The canals, filled with glistening seawater, reflected the sunlight in countless hues of blue and gold. At its heart stood the great temple of Poseidon, the patron god of this shining realm. The temple was a marvel of artistry, its walls plated with silver that gleamed like moonlight, its pinnacles crowned with gold that blazed like fire in the suns. Embrace statues of Poseidon loomed above, carved with a precision that seemed almost alive. Surrounding him, the Atlanteans had erected statues of his children, mighty rulers, who had once walked among them as both mortals and demigods. These children of Poseidon, born of his Poseidon, born of his union with a mortal woman, were the first kings of Atlantis. Their faces, carved in stone, seemed to watch over their vast domain. Beyond the temple, the city pulsed with life. Great towers of stone rose against the horizon, their walls polished smooth and gleaming under the sun's rays. Markets teemed with laughter and trade filled with goods from across the known world, spices, silks, and jewels from lands far and near. Lush gardens spilled into every corner, the greenery so vibrant it seemed to drink in the very light of the gods. The air carried the scent of citrus and salt, of wild flowers blooming between the stones, of grand palaces. So surrounding the city were vast plains of fertile green, stretching for miles until they met the foot of mighty mountains. Rivers, like veins of silver, crisscrossed the land-watering fields, bursting with crops. Wheat swayed in golden waves. Vineyards were heavy with grapes, and orchards offered fruit in abundance. Herds of magnificent animals, some strange and wonderful, roamed freely under the open skies. The people of Atlantis were no less extraordinary. They were strong and clever. Their minds are sharp as their hands were skilled. They were architects, artists, and philosophers, inventors of technologies far beyond their time. Ships carved from cedar and adorned with bronze sailed the seas under their command. The sails billowed like clouds against the deep blue. The Atlanteans were prosperous, and with their prosperity came power that would stretch across music continents, for they were said to rule vast lands beyond their island shores. But even in their glory, a shadow began to grow within Atlantis. For all their wealth and wisdom, the Atlanteans had grown greedy and proud. Their hearts turned away from the virtues that had once brought them favor with the gods. The people who once honored Poseidon and lived in harmony with the divine began to crave power beyond their shores. They waged wars, conquering lands and subjugating peoples. Their ambition rising as high as their golden temples, believing themselves invincible, untouchable by gods or men. They no longer offered gratitude to the heavens. Their pride darkened the cities. Brilliance, a stain upon the beauty Poseidon had gifted them. And so the gods, watching from their thrones on Olympus, grew angry. Zeus, the king of the gods, decreed that Atlantis would be no more. The Atlanteans, once pious and humble, have turned their backs on the divine hoarder, and for that they would face the wrath of the heavens. The land that had once gleamed with silver and gold, the temples that had soared toward the skies, the plains that had fed a mighty people, all would be swallowed by the sea. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon, blotting out the sun. The earth trembled beneath the weight of Zeus's anger. The sea, once calm and glimmering, rose in tense towering waves, crashing against the city's walls with a deafening roar. The canals overflowed, drowning the grand bridges and sweeping through the streets like an unstoppable tide. Temples crumbled, the statues tumbling into the churning waters. The mountain shook, the rivers boiled, and with one final roar of thunder Atlantis sank beneath the waves. When the storm passed, there was only silence. The sea calm once more stretched out to the horizon, as if Atlantis had never been the great city. Its people and its legacy were gone, consumed by their own excess and by the justice of the gods. All that remained were the whispers of what had been, and so as the waves slapped gently over its watery grave, Atlantis became nothing but a memory. It was Plato, a famous philosopher, who first gave us the story of Atlantis. In the golden age of ancient Greece, philosophy reigned supreme, and at its pinnacle sat Plato. To the Greeks, Plato was not merely a man, he was a bridge between mortal minds and timeless truths. His works revered like sacred scripture, his ideas shaped thought for generations, guiding kings, scholars, and students alike. If Plato wrote of something, it was more than words on a page, it was truth. The story of Atlantis was hidden within the dialogues Tus and Critias, written around 360 BC. These works, though presented as conversations between fictional characters, carried deeper meaning. Philosophy for Plato was a vessel for understanding human nature, morality, and the delicate balance between greatness and ruin. Through Atlantis, Plato created a parable, a warning about human hubris, the danger of unchecked ambition, and the divine judgment that follows. Story begins in Tus, where Plato's characters discuss the creation of the universe, the harmony of nature and mankind's place within it. It is here the idea of Atlantis is introduced, described as a mighty and wondrous island ruled by Sidon's music descendants, but it is in Critias that the myth truly comes alive. Plato paints Atlantis in vivid detail, a land of wealth, power, and sophistication, where men lived in harmony with the gods. Yet beneath its beauty, Plato hinted at a fatal flaw. Pride. To Plato's contemporaries, this story was far more than allegory. Plato, after all, was no ordinary writer, a student of Socrates and teacher of Aristotle. His teachings formed the foundation of Western philosophy. He shaped the way the ancient world understood ethics, governance, and the soul itself. His words held weight, and his reputation bordered on the mythical. To question Plato was to question the nature of truth itself. And so when Plato spoke of Atlantis, many listened as if he were recounting history. The line between allegory and reality blurred, and Atlantis became more than a philosophical lesson. It became legend. Plato never explicitly stated that the story was fiction, and for many in his audience that omission was enough. After all, how could a man so wise, so revered, tell anything but truth in the ancient world where oral traditions and myth wove seamlessly into history? Plato's Atlantis felt as real as Troy or Babylon. For centuries after Plato's death, his words spread across the ancient world like ripples on a still pond. The philosophers of ancient Rome revered him, their minds shaped by his teachings. To them, Atlantis was not just a story. It was a cautionary tale, a reflection of the fine line between greatness and folly. But as the Roman Empire crumbled and fell, so too did its libraries, and learning the world turned dark, and with it Plato's Atlantis was all but forgotten. It wasn't until the 12th century, when Europeans expanded trade routes and dared to travel farther than ever before, that stories of Atlantis re-emerged. It was a time of wonder and uncertainty, when the edges of maps were filled, not with borders, but with dreams. The known world was small, and beyond it lay the terror incognate lands. Unseen sailors returned home with tales that defied belief, of golden highland shimmering on the horizon, cities hidden beyond veils of mist, and lands rich with treasures. Their stories, though wild and inconsistent, were enough to ignite imagination's. Rumors spread like fire, carried from ports to royal courts, from traveler lips to the ears of eager scholars, and soon sea photographers began to listen. The map markers redrew the world as they were told, guided by the voices of sailors and merchants, by rumors and dreams. In the shadowy glow of flickering candle light, a name began to appear on the maps, a phantom island shaped by stories. Atlantis had returned for those living at the dawn of the Renaissance. These maps were more than ink and paper. They were promises, promises of gold and glory, of discovered lands waiting to be conquered. And so, Atlantis resurfaced, not as a philosophical allegory, but as something tangible, something real, a sunken treasure waiting to be found, a vision of perfection, a utopia lost to time. By the 17th century, the world was changing. The age of exploration had revealed vast new lands across the globe. It was a time when the boundaries of the known world were redrawn, and when science began to unravel the mysteries of nature itself. At the center of this intellectual revolution stood Francis Bacon, a philosopher and a scientist. Bacon's work laid the foundation for modern inquiry. He championed observation, experimentation, and skepticism as the keys to understanding the world. His ideas were revolutionary, challenging dogma and demanding reason. And yet, amidst his towering achievements in rational thought, Bacon did something unexpected. He imagined a city that existed nowhere, a utopia, hidden across the seas. In 1627, the year after his death, Bacon's final work was published, The New Atlantis. It was not a treatise on science, nor a work of philosophy, but a vision, a story of an ideal society built on the harmony of faith and reason. And at its heart was the island of Ben Salam. And at its heart was the island of Ben Salem, a place in Spear, eared by the legendary Atlantis. Bacon's Atlantis was not the doomed, prideful kingdom of Plato, but a paradise, a shining beacon of human potential. It was a city untouched by human flaws, a blueprint for the world as it could be in Ben Salem. Science was not the enemy of religion, but its companion. Knowledge was revered. Discovery celebrated. The people of this new Atlantis were not plagued by disease or hunger. Instead, they lived long, fulfilling lives thanks to their mastery of medicine. Bacon described grand libraries filled with the wisdom of the ages and towering structures devoted to study, where scholars toiled to uncover the secrets of the natural world. They cured diseases that had plagued humanity for millennia. They created machines of wondrous technology, devices that could fly through the air, harness the power of wind and water, and improve the lives of every citizen. In Bacon's words, Ben Salem was a city of enlightenment, of order, and of peace. Here, knowledge did not lead to greed or ruin, but to a deeper understanding of the divine. Science and faith, so often at odds, coexisted in perfect harmony. It was a society governed not by war or wealth, but by wisdom. Bacon was not the only person inspired by Plato's Atlantis. In his 1870 masterpiece, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Verne gave Atlantis a new form, reshaping Plato's parable into a story of adventure and imagination. Within its pages, Captain Nemo and his crew aboard the Nautilus descend to the ocean depths. It is here, far beneath the waves, that they stumble upon the remains of Atlantis, a kingdom once great, now reduced to silence. Pontonous is not the vibrant, thriving paradise described by Plato or Bacon. It is something older, more somber, as Captain Nemo guides the crew through its ruins. Verne paints a haunting picture of the city swallowed by time. Great temples lie cracked and broken, their marble facades eroded by the ocean's currents. Statues of long-forgotten gods rise from the sea floor. They won magnificent forms, now cloaked in barnacles and shadows. Streets that once hummed with life and now choked with sand, the silence broken only by the soft sway of seaweed and the whisper of passing fish through Verne's words. Atlantis becomes something both tragic and beautiful. It is a place where greatness met its end, where the ambitions of men crumbled beneath the weight of nature's power. Yet even in ruin, the city retains a kind of magic, a world preserved beneath the sea, untouched by time, waiting to be found by those daring enough to seek it as captain. Nemo and his crew drifted silently past the ruins of Atlantis. Verne invited us to ask a question that has lingered ever since. If such a place could exist beneath the waves, what else might lie hidden, waiting to be discovered? It is a question that has fueled explorers, storytellers, and dreamers for over a century. It is a question that ensures Atlantis will never truly be lost. By the late 19th century, the world was a very different place. Science and technology had taken giant leaps forward. Railways crossed music continents, telegraphs carried messages across oceans, and ships chartered waters once thought impossible. Yet despite all the progress, humankind still yearned for mystery. It was in this age of discovery and wonder that one man revived Atlantis, not as a myth or utopia, but a scientific truth. His name was Ignatius Donnell, A.U.S. congressman turned writer and self-proclaimed scholar. In 1882, Donny published a book that would reignite the flames of obsession and reshape Atlantis for a modern audience. The book was titled Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. Within its pages, Donnelly made an extraordinary claim. Atlantis was not only real, but it was the cradle of all human civilizations. Donnelly believed that the great myths of humanity, stories of floods, of lost lands, of gods and heroes, could all be traced back to one place, the sunken island of Atlantis. To him, it was no coincidence that the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Maya, and countless other civilizations all spoke of a great flood that reshaped the world. They must, he argued, have shared a common origin. A single mother civilization that once flourished before being swallowed by the sea. But Donnelly did unstop at storytelling. He sought evidence. He turned to science, or what passed for science at the time to build his case. He pointed to the Gulf Stream, the powerful ocean current that flows in a circular motion through the Atlantic Ocean. To Donnell, this mysterious phenomenon was not natural, but a remnant of the waterways that had once surrounded Atlantis. The current, he claimed, still moved around the sunken island, as if flowing in memory of its once grand canals. Then came the discovery of massive volcanic mountain ranges beneath the Atlantic Ocean. Scientists of the time revealed that these ranges lay hidden deep below the surface, stretching across the ocean floor. To Donnelly, this was further proof. These mountains, he argued, were the peaks of Atlantis. With poetic passion, Donnell wove together myth, science, and speculation. The public was enthralled at a time when discoveries were being made seemingly every day. Donnell's book offered something irresistible, a tantalizing blend of history, science, and imagination. For the first time, Atlantis was not just a story passed down through generations. It was evidence-based, scientific, and accessible. Donnelly had turned an ancient myth into a compelling quest for truth. The 20th century brought a new age of exploration, not by ships charting unmarked waters, but by science, SSTs, and explorers looking deep below the ocean's surface. Advances in technology allowed humanity to see what lay hidden in the depths for the first time, and what they found stirred imaginations sparking fresh theories about the lost city of Atlantis. Throughout the 20th century, from the Caribbean to the Mediterranean, explorers reported strange stone formations, walls, and roads hidden on the sea floor. Each discovery was hailed as potential proof of the lost city. Perhaps the most famous example came in 1968. Off the coast of the Bahamas, divers stumbled upon what appeared to be a series of rectangular limestone blocks beneath the water's surface. This structure, known as the Beanie Road, quickly captured the public's imagination. The stones were eerily symmetrical, laid out in a path that stretched for hundreds of feet. To some it looked like a man-made road. Excitement spread like wildfire. Believers argued that the Beanie Road matched descriptions of Plato's canals and pathways. They theorized that this was part of the sunken city preserved beneath the waves for thousands of years. Explorers descended into the waters to study the stones, hoping to uncover secrets that might rewrite history. Yet, as science often does, the excitement was tempered by skepticism. Geologists studied the formations and concluded that the BW Road was likely a natural phenomenon. The limestone blocks were shaped by the forces of erosion over centuries. The straight edges and grid-like arrangement were a trick of nature, not evidence of a lost civilization. Despite this, the Beanie Road and discoveries like it continued to capture imaginations. Similar claims arose from other locations: strange structures near the coast of Japan, alleged ruins of the shores of Cuba, and submerged cities in the Mediterranean. Each new expedition promised answers. There is something about the idea of a lost city, a place of unimaginable beauty and wisdom swallowed by the sea, that refuses to die. Even now, the ocean keeps its secrets, its vastness, hiding more than we can see or imagine. For every myth dismissed, there remains a lingering sense of wonder, a quiet hope that perhaps, just perhaps, Atlantis is still out there. And so the legend lives on, not because it is proven, but because it speaks to something deeper within us. For dreamers, it is a paradise lost, a shimmering kingdom that reminds us of beauty and perfection just beyond our reach. For adventurers, it is treasure waiting to be found, the mystery buried deep beneath the waves, calling out to those brave enough to seek it. For thinkers, it remains a lesson in human pride, a cautionary tale of greatness undone by greed, a reminder that even the mightiest can fall. Perhaps Atlantis never sank, then beneath the sea at all. Perhaps it rose within us, a dream of what could be, a vision of a world greater than our own. And so we are left with the question that has lingered for millennia: what do you believe? For as long as we ask that question, Atlantis will never truly be lost. It lives on, ever-changing, eternal, just beneath the surface of our imagination. I hope you enjoyed tonight's video, and it has brought you a night of peaceful, restful sleep. Please join me again tomorrow night for another sleep story. Until then, sweet dreams.